So have you ever gone tubing down the Chippewa River? What we're going to do is we're going to use a tubing trip as an example of how to measure distances two different ways in Google Earth. All right, so where are we here? We are in Mount Pleasant, and we are on High Street. Here's CMU over here. All right, let me go up here. See this number 20 here? This is where a lot of people start a tubing trip. So you're going down High Street, and it's Highway 20, and here is Chippewa Park. Chippewa Park is right there. Here's where you turn in, and you drive down here, and here's that little parking lot that you go into, and then you get out and you walk down just a little bit, and when you do, you see the ramp, and here's where you get in the river. Now you see all this white stuff here? Well, this is just showing you that the water levels of the river are pretty low, and that's not surprising on late September. But okay, let's see. And I'm going to enable photos here just to see if anybody has put a photograph in and it's winter. So all right, let's get rid of photographs. All right, now this is what I'm going to do. This is our start point for our tubing trip. So I want to mark it. How do I do that? Well, look up here in the upper left, and you see these little images here. You see this little push pin? I'm going to click on that. And when I do, a little push pin, a rather big push pin, appears right here, and I can click and hold and drag it around. And I'm going to put it right here in the middle of the river. Well, maybe I'll put it right there in the middle of the river. Okay. So what am I going to call this? Well, I'll go over here, and we're going to say tubing start. Okay, great. And I'm going to hit OK. Look, it's telling me latitude and longitude. I can put all kinds of goodies on here, and I'm going to just sort of ignore that. Boom. All right, I have a tubing start. Well, let's see. We zoom out a little bit, and you go down the river, and you're floating, 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 and here you cross underneath the bridge at High Street, and you're floating some more, and here are some trails, and then you have a choice of going to the left or to the right, and we're going to go to the left, and we're going to stop. Here's Broadway Street, so here's Broadway, we're going underneath Broadway, and here's about where we get out. This is Nelson Park up here. Some people tube longer, some people tube shorter. Here's where you get out, here's that little ramp, okay, and then here's the park, and then off in this direction is Mountain Town Station. This is about the longest you want to go when you got a couple of little kids. Okay, so I'm going to click that push pin again, and I'm going to move it up to the middle of the river, and I'm going to title it. I'm going to call it Tubing End. Enter. Okay, notice over here under My Places, I've got a bunch of stuff you don't have because I've been fiddling around with Google Earth for a long time, but it's got tubing start and tubing end, and I can in fact choose to show those or not show those. I want to show them. Okay. Let's zoom out a little bit so that we have both of these things in view. All right. I want to just move it a little bit. There we go. I want to nudge it. You can see that Google Earth can be a little persnickety. All right. Well, how far is this? Well, what we know, of course, is that tubing isn't straight. The river curves and does all kinds of curvy things. But what we're going to do is we're going to start out, if we were to go straight from this to this in the straightest direction possible, how long is that? Well, let me show you. You go up here to your toolbar here, and you see these little images. Look at that. There's a menu, and sorry, there's a ruler. Show the ruler. Oh, yeah. All right, and a box shows up, and it usually goes right where you want to be, so you got to move it. Okay, there's three things, line, path, and pro. I want you to select line. Let's do this in, what the heck, let's do this in miles, okay? So what we're going to do is we've got miles selected, we've got mouse navigation, and so I'm going to go back down here, and I'm going to click. And notice that I tried very hard not to click on the push pin because it'll move the push pin. I don't want to do that. I've clicked once, and now I'm moving my mouse, and I'm making a line, and I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to click again. Look at that. And I don't want to click again. I want to just move over here. Look at that, 0.93 miles. So the straight shot is just about a mile, not quite. Okay, map length and ground length. Well, what's the difference? Well, remember, maps are flat and Earth is not. So the farther you go, the more you have to account for the curvature of the Earth because you're traveling on a three-dimensional sphere. This is a pretty short distance, so curvature of the Earth is not really noticeable. Let's change this to feet. Hey, look at that, 4,885 and change feet. Well, let's get all metric here. 1,489 meters. And how many kilometers should that be? Well, let's think. Metric lets us just move around decimal places. Oh, how about that? 1.49 clicks. All right, we're going to leave it in kilometers for now. We can do a couple of things. We can save this line, and it'll always be there, or we can clear it. Let's clear it.